Let's get it. And I mean, some brooms. Let's get some brooms out on this Thursday afternoon on 580 Sports Talk. Nobody hotter in baseball than the boys in blue. They are, dare I say it, playing some ball. 9 out of 10 for the Royals, including a sweep just concluded of the Tampa Bay Rays in Tampa. 8-2 the final this afternoon, as the Royals are now 17-15 on the season and have started this 6-game road trip and stretch of 16 consecutive days with the game with 3 consecutive wins. We're here to talk all about it and everything else in the wide world of sports here on 580 Sports Talk this afternoon. We're here with you until 6 o'clock on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. And we are streaming on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on our Facebook page, WIBW News. Dan Lucero and Brendan Dworzinski with you. Spencer Dupuis will be along in a bit. So glad you're with us. Those of you who are listening to Royals baseball, thanks for continuing to hang out with us. We'll break it all down. The Royals winners last night in a typically low-scoring affair for them, but today, an offensive explosion, a season-high 15 hits. And the first time since April 4th that the Royals have scored this many runs, 8, in a game. And if you want to throw out games against the 2 worst pitching staffs in baseball, the Rockies and the Orioles, this might be their best performance offensively of the season when all is said and done here through these first 32 games. We'll talk about what we saw today, what we saw last night. Noah Cameron's debut gave us a thrill as the left-hander took a no-hitter into the 7th in his first major league start. We'll have something to say about that. And we'll take a widescreen look at the first month of Royals baseball. As we start the month of May today, Royals were 16-15, 1 game to the good through March and April, and they have opened May at 1-0. We'll take a look at what was good, what was not through the month of April, and of the things that were positive, or I guess in some ways some negative things as well, we'll look at whether or not those are real, whether or not those can be counted on to continue, or whether or not those things are going to regress, either positively or negatively. So lots of ball to talk on today's show. We're going to talk plenty of hardball on 580 Sports Talk today. But that's not all we'll do on the program. Interesting quotes from Brett Veach in a Kansas City Star column by Vahe Gregorian about Travis Kelce and the expectation for his role in 2025, which sort of goes with what we were talking about yesterday on the show as it pertained to the Chiefs' collection of pass catchers. And with the addition of a player like Jalen Royals, does that mean that the Chiefs, with a deeper wide receiver group on paper now than they've had on most May 1st in the last couple of years, does that mean we'll see fewer multi-tight end sets? Does that mean we'll see more of a snap count watch for Travis Kelce? Brett Veach had some interesting quotes, and we'll get into that later on in the show today. We'll also talk local sports with our guest, Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for the local sports spotlight. Pistol will join us bottom of this hour. We'll get his take on everything going on in local sports, high school sports, starting to round the turn on those and head to the end of the high school sports season. We can see that in the not too distant future. Also, Washburn Athletics wrapping up their seasons as well. We got some catching up to do with Pistol because we didn't talk to him last week, but Rick Peterson will join us at the bottom of this hour. Plus, we always endeavor to cover stories from the world of sports that break contain. I referred to the grandmother test on this show before. Like if you are into sports, but your grandma is not, but if it's a big enough sports story that your grandma would ask you about it, we endeavor to get to those stories. And I have a feeling that there are some grandmothers out there who might be asking, so, hey, what's the deal with Bill Belichick? Or maybe more specifically, what's the deal with his girlfriend/publicist? we're going to try to break it all down, and we're going to compare it to the time that comes where it might be time to think about taking the car keys away from Bill Belichick in a metaphorical sense. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. Plus, all of the things you've come to know and love from a Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk. We'll have our 580 Sports Talk headlines top of the 5 o'clock hour, including a playoff roundup. We'll do another round of What Is Wrong With You. We'll play either or over under this hour. And we want to hear from you. The text line is open. 785-272-9429 is that number. 785-272-9429 to text the program. You can also get your thoughts in if you are watching on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, in the live chat. There's a chat feature on the web browser and mobile device. And if you are logged into your YouTube account or your Google account, you can interact with us and your fellow listeners throughout the show via our YouTube chat. Again, the name of the channel, 580 Sports Talk. Break those brooms out. Royals 8, Rays 2 this afternoon at Steinbrenner Field. Royals were down early, but did some damage in the middle innings, something we had talked about a couple of weeks ago that they were simply not doing. In fact, last night's game, a 3-0 win for the Royals, felt like it was the more familiar pattern this season for Kansas City, where you get a little early offense and then the bats would go to sleep for the final 5-6 innings, and you're holding on for dear life. And the back end of the bullpen's been good enough to make that shake to this point this season. But the Royals able to tie the game on a Michael Massey sac fly in the fourth. They score 3 in the fifth. 2 of those on Bobby Witt Jr.'s third home run of the year as he increases his hitting streak to 22 games. And then 3 more in the sixth inning to chase starter Shane Baz. And then another insurance run on top in the eighth inning as well. And the end result is a routine Royals win, the kind of Royals win where you're comfortable. Well, I shouldn't speak for everyone when I say this, but you're comfortable generally with Chris Stratton trying to get the final 3 outs. That's how comfortable this one was. Chris Stratton struck out 2 in a scoreless ninth. The haters are sick.
Sensational comment here from our guy Lenny on YouTube. Stratton pitched a scoreless ninth. Trade value has never been higher. Time to trade for a player to be named later.
Yeah, you look good. Everybody did today.
Sell high, Royals.
Really strong performance up and down. Seth Lugo outstanding for the second straight start. Texter from the 785 points out that he has returned to form. He was really good in his 6 innings, 2 runs on 5 hits. Gave up the first inning home run to Yandy Diaz, but then stayed out of trouble the rest of the game. Struck out 5, didn't walk a batter, mixing in all 28 of his pitches. Just a vintage Seth Lugo outing, the kind that you are looking for, A, when you're going for a sweep, B, when you're going up against a pitcher who'd been as hot as Baz, who came in as one of the best pitchers in the American League in April, but the Royals tattooed him to the tune of 7 runs on 9 hits, walked 3 times, and only struck out once against Baz, who'd struck out 36 in his first 29 innings this season. I think given the level of competition, and I mean, it's a low bar to clear. It's not that there's a lot of company in this discussion, Brendan, but that was the best offensive game of the year for the Royals, I think.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, Baz all season entering today had allowed 8 earned runs. And then today he gave up 7 in 5 2/3. And I know that's a tough ballpark to pitch in and all that, but man, the Royals tattooed him. Like you said, they tore him apart, and he came in not just pretty good. I mean, his underlying numbers have been elite so far this season. One of the best fastballs in terms of velocity and just effectiveness in baseball this year. Striking out, like you mentioned, or 31.5% of his batters. Does allow balls to be hit hard, though. I mean, that happens when you throw the ball really hard. If someone squares it up, you know what happens? It gets hit really hard as well. That has been a bit of an issue, and the Royals took advantage of that today. So really good work to mash against him. And the fact that it was everybody getting in the mix, every single position player starter for the Royals today had at least 1 hit. And how many was it? 4 guys had multiple. Fermin, Waters, Vinny, and Garcia all had multiple hits. Bobby Witt only had 1, but he also got on base 2 other times with a walk and a hit by pitch. So, I mean, they really looked as good as anybody has looked against Baz all season long. There are a number of reasons that could be. Maybe it just wasn't the most effective day for him. Maybe it was a weather thing. Maybe it was just a blind squirrel finding a nut. Or maybe the Royals just had everything kind of coalesce all at the right time. And I'm not trying to say this was the game where they figured it out, but it's, again, an example like we had against the Rockies last week, where it was, look, this team stinks, but you got a glimpse into this is what it can look like when it is all starting to come together. And I think this was another data point toward, okay, we are seeing it now come together, not just what it looks like if it comes together.
It starts at the top. Jonathan India is on base 3 times, scores 2 runs. Bobby Witt Jr. homers, drives in 3. He's on base 3 times, 4 times actually, because he walked twice and was hit by a pitch to drive in a run. Vinny, 2 hits, 2 RBI. Remember when I was pounding the table to give him an off day on yesterday's show, and then he hits a first inning home run last night?
He was listening, clearly.
Clearly, he was dialed into 580 Sports Talk in the visiting clubhouse. It goes to show you, like, if he were really in such a bad way that you could see it in the cage, you could see it in the pregame warmups, you could see it during batting practice, he probably would have had that day off, or he would have gotten that demotion in the lineup. Clearly, Matt Quatrero and Alex Zumwalt were seeing something else with his process, seeing that the process was still good, seeing that the swings still look good in the cages, and feeling like it's going to turn. And Pasquantino last night and today looked like a hitter who's on his way back on the uptick. I'm not going to throw him a parade over 2 games, but it was the placement of his hits. It was the quality of his at-bats. It was the quality of his contact that really has me enthused. That looked like a hitter trying to use every part of the park and not just trying to pull the ball in the air. You pull the ball in the air sometimes when you catch 96 out front and square it up like he did on his home run last night. But Vinny's so strong, he doesn't have to try to hit home runs. He doesn't have to try to elevate, lift, and separate on the pitches that are out front. He's going to hit for power just because he's big and strong, and he knows the strike zone. And he knows what he can do damage on. He's just got to get back to having that all fields, up the middle kind of approach, and the home runs will come. I thought his at-bats, even his last at-bat, he flew out to center field. He missed the grand slam by about a grain of wood on that. Hit it to the wrong part of the park, but he's on it. And he looks the last 2 nights, last 2 games, I should say, like somebody who's going to turn it around. And boy, not a moment too soon,
right?
For this Royals team who really needs that out of the 3-hole. Michael Massey's another one. We talked about Massey yesterday too. He did have last night off. He comes in today, 1 for 4, drives in the first run of the game on a sac fly. The numbers for Massey are unbelievable. When you look at his career marks in March and April, he is a 184 hitter in the first month of the season with a 194 on base and a 222 slug, 53 strikeouts to 3 walks in 217 plate appearances. And then in May, Michael Massey is a lifetime 326 hitter with a 381 on base and a 575 slug. I don't know what in the April showers bring May flowers is going on there with Michael Massey. Maybe it's an M thing. He's got 2 M's, initials are 2 M's, and May starts with an M. I don't know. Your theory is as good as mine, but patience with Michael Massey could end up being a virtue, and his swings, his contact, I thought, looked better today. So those are 2 guys, middle of the order guys projected for the Royals, so they've got to get rolling, and saw some good signs today.
Someone else I want to make sure to bring up just in terms of statistical production here, and he had an okay day today. You mentioned it already. India was on base 3 times, 1 for 4 with the 2 walks. He had... You look at just the box score line right now, right? Like 217 batting average, 333 on base, 264 slug. That's actually a pretty good on base percentage when you're not hitting that much. You'll take that. That's fairly close to his career averages, which he's well below right now in terms of batting average and slug. That's another one that I think once he starts to get a little more pop in the bat, you're going to see something turn for this Royals offense. I mean, right now, his on-base percentage is way outpacing his slug, which you see that from like slap hitters, guys who are never hitting home runs. We talked about Ray Sanchez yesterday, like those guys. And it's usually, on base 350, slug 340. Like you're hitting a lot of singles with the occasional double, no home runs. Jonathan India has not been that in his career. For his career, I mean, he doesn't slug a ton, but his slugging percentage is up about 400. He's around a league average guy in terms of on base and slugging percentage, especially when you combine them into OPS. He has not been that so far this year for one reason or another. His splits for his career, he's a slower starter in terms of power in March and April than he is in May. Not nearly as starkly as Michael Massey, like you just laid out. But eventually, he is going to hit the ball a little bit more. And he is going to hit doubles and a few more home runs than he has hit so far. Even the last couple of years when he's taken a stark downturn from when he won Rookie of the Year back in 2021, he has still been a better offensive producer than we have seen so far. I'm pretty confident things are going to improve for him. I mean, he's still been better than a lot of what the Royals got from the leadoff spot a year ago, but I think it's going to get even better from him. He's got, with Vinny's struggles the last year and a couple months, he's, I think, got one of the most professional approaches at the plate as anyone. He doesn't strike out. He does walk plenty. He doesn't chase bad pitches or, those tantalizing sliders outside the zone, whatever. Doesn't chase, doesn't swing and miss. It's a really good approach at the plate. So I'm pretty convinced it's going to turn for him as well. And when it does, suddenly when you've got a guy on first more often and second once in a while ahead of Bobby and Vinny and Salvi, you're going to score a whole lot more. Just that's how baseball works.
You don't have to be in a position where you're trying to win every game by your fingernails and you're having to burn out the back end of your bullpen. This was a welcome respite for Lucas Erstag and Carlos Estevez. They didn't have to pitch in high leverage. The Royals could bring Daniel Lynch in. I'm not sure Lynch broke a sweat. He threw 6 pitches, all strikes in the 7th. 1, 2, 3, easy as you please.
That's the most efficient Royals inning since
Noah Cameron's 4-pitch first inning the day before.
Yeah, there you go.
Lynch, I say didn't break a sweat, but also I've been to Florida in the summer, so he did. But, it was a really simple 7th inning for him. Angel Zerpa worked the 8th, gave up a couple of hits, worked around it. We mentioned Chris Stratton, a scoreless 9th, only his 3rd scoreless outing of the season, and only the 2nd time all year that he's pitched in a game in which the Royals have won. There's no shortage of heroes. When you win a game 8-2, everybody feels good. You get on a plane feeling good. You're 2 games clear of 500 now. So instead of that feeling like it's unreachable, like you've got to scratch and claw your way to get back to that mark, which is how things felt coming off of the last road trip. Now you've undone that damage where they had the 6-game losing streak and went 2-8 on that road trip because they've turned around and won 8 of 9 since then with a pair of sweeps in there. And you feel good going into a Baltimore team that's really struggled this year and has struggled to pitch. And you got a chance to keep the bats hot.
One final thought on today's game and the matchup against Shane Baz, who again has been great this year. This game alone added a margin of 1.41 to his ERA. It was 2.45 entering the day. He leaves the day with a 3.86. That's what the Royals did to him today. That's a good pitcher. That's a really good pitcher in Shane Baz from that incredible pitching lab down there in Central Florida. And the Royals torched him. I mean, you really couldn't ask for a whole lot more. Very convincing game today.
Pending the results, it is in a delay at Progressive Field. The Royals could also leave today tied in the win column with Cleveland. Cleveland entered today 17-13. They're tied at 2 with Minnesota in the top of the 8th inning there, but that game is in a delay. So a chance, if Cleveland were to lose, if Minnesota were to win, that the Royals and Cleveland would be even in the win column heading into this upcoming weekend. So the Royals have, again, they've made up that ground. They had that terrible road trip, but now you win the first 3 games of a 6-game road trip, you've already had a good road trip because 500 ball on the road, you'll take it every time you'll take it. So you've already had a good road trip. Go get a game in Baltimore, and you had a great road trip. Go get 2 out of 3 in Baltimore. You had an awesome road trip, and it gives you further momentum coming back home to play who? The Chicago White Sox. Like, this thing could really have legs for the Royals. This feels like it could be the start of something if they're able to maintain their momentum through the weekend at Camden Yards.
Say it with me. West Bottoms. stand up.
Royals are winners 8-2. We'll get back into the Royals a little bit later on in the program today. Do have some thoughts about Noah Cameron's big league debut. We'll get to those later on in the show. Also, I have developed a new nickname for the back end of the Royals bullpen. And also, I want to be in the hot dog race. So I'm going to begin my campaign.
We know that they will have sports talk radio hosts do it.
Yes.
Because friend of the program, former host of the program, Alex Gold, has done it.
Yes. I want to be in the hot dog race. I don't know that any Royals executives, staffers, anyone related to any of them listen to this show. But I had the thought last night, you know what I want to do? I actually had the thought last time I was at the K when I went to the Thursday doubleheader last week. I want to be in the hot dog race. And then I thought, you know what? I have a megaphone. Not in a literal sense, but people hear me when I talk. And if someone were to hear me when I say, I want to be in a hot dog race, I wonder if I can make it happen. And I wonder if I can make it happen for all of us.
I was going to say, why can't the three of us do it?
There's 3 hot dog suits, right?
Yeah, why not?
Which
one would you want to be?
Probably mustard.
Oh, okay, sweet. Because I'll take ketchup or relish. I don't want to be mustard.
Right, perfect. You're
awesome.
Not a mustard guy?
This is it. We don't even have to worry about the costume assignments now. We can just jump right in.
No, I want to be in the hot dog derby. Trevor's with us in the YouTube chat. Trevor says Dan Brennan and Spencer in the hot dog derby would be elite. We got to do it. We got to make it happen. We've been putting the games on since 1969. I'm sure somebody would be willing to do us a favor. Hit our line, please. I want to be in the hot dog race. Make it happen. Put 580 Sports Talk in the hot dog derby. We're going to take a break here at 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, we'll talk local sports with Rick Peterson of TopSports.news. We'll get Pistols perspective next. We're just getting started on this Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk. We are out to Rick Peterson of TopSports.news, hoping he is able to join us this afternoon for the local sports spotlight. Pistol joins us Thursdays on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline to give his perspective on Shawnee County High School sports and Washburn University athletics. Of course, you can read his stuff every day at TopSports.news. And plenty to discuss with Pistol today is from the Washburn perspective. Washburn softball opens MIAA tournament play in just a little while, in fact, out in Hayes. They take on Rogers State in round one. Also, it's coming down to the marrow in high school sports. Won't be long now before we're talking about regionals and state tournament events as the calendar approaches that time of year. In fact, we are a week and change away from boys regional tennis. And baseball regionals begin in 13 days in the lower classes, 3A and 2-1A. So it is right around the corner, the start of the postseason in spring high school sports. And, of course, that also means we're not far away from prom and graduation and the end of the school year. And those memorable moments are just around the bend. We are connected now with Rick Peterson. He joins us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. And Pistol, it's been a couple weeks, so we didn't get a chance to talk to you about this when it broke. So we'll double back to some news that you teased with us the last time you were on the air. Topeka High has a new boys basketball coach. It's a Topeka High alum, Robbie Sanders, longtime assistant coach in the area. Talk to me about how that came together and what you expect from Coach Sanders now that he's taking over his alma mater.
Well, I personally thought Gio did a good job too. It was just they were a little undermanned personnel-wise, had some transfers and things like that. But Robbie's a great pick. Robbie has a lot. He knows the program better than anybody. He spent 13. He was a star player there. Spent 13 years as assistant there for Coach Mike Henson and Pat Denny, and then he spent the last 6 years with Ken Darting out at Shawnee Heights. And he's also been a top instructor for Darting Basketball Academy since it started. So nobody knows basketball in the area any better than Robbie, and I think he'll do a great job.
The numbers issue at Topeka High is just so strange to me that they would ever have trouble finding enough players, but it's been an issue. It was an issue for their football program there for a few years. Following Walt Alexander's departure, it's been an issue for their basketball program the last couple of years as well. What can the coaches because it's not department wide where they've had a lack of numbers or a lack of success. Baseball's been to back-to-back state tournaments. Softball's obviously had a really nice run. They've had success in other sports. How can they get things back going in those tentpole sports, football and boys basketball?
Well, I think, if they can just get a little bit of a success, success breeds success, and success also means that people want to be a part of that program. And I think that'll happen. I think Robbie will be beating the doors down in the hallways and getting some players out. But I do want to say it's not just Topeka High. A lot of the staple programs in this city, girls-wise, couldn't field C teams and things like that. So I don't know. It seems to be kind of a sign of the times, but I'm hoping it's just a cycle and it'll come back where the numbers get a lot better.
We're talking to Rick Peterson of TopSports.news here on 580 Sports Talk. This is the local sports spotlight on 580 Sports Talk. We do it every Thursday at this time. Pistol, we talked a little bit about the girls track and field scene last time we had a chance to speak. I wanted to turn attention to the boys because obviously there have been some big meets of late and some really impressive performances by some of the male track athletes in the city. Who are some of the biggest standouts on that side for you as we get closer and closer to regionals and state in that sport?
Well, I think you got to start with Jensen Strickle of Hayden. He was a double winner last week in the big meet at Free State. He's a 48-second quarter miler. Very, very good long jumper. Gone 22 and change this year, went 23 last year. He is like a 6-time overall returning state champion, relays and individual events. So you start with him. Washburn Rural was the 4x4 6A champ in the boys 4x4 relay last year. They're very, very good again. Isaiah Terry is a 48-second quarter miler. Brody Anderson at Seaman is very, very good in the distance races, as are Adrian Lehman of Topeka West, and I think it's Matthew Wilkie of Topeka West. So it's pretty solid all the way around. Field events aren't, other than the jumps, aren't real strong. The throws, but hopefully can come on in those.
Another sport we haven't gotten around to as much has been boys golf, but boy, there was a terrific city golf championship on Monday at Topeka Country Club. Came down to a stroke difference between Washburn Rural and Hayden, and the individual title came down to a playoff. Very, very competitive between those two outstanding programs. What did you see out of TCC?
Well, that was a very, very good tournament in very, very tough conditions with kind of like it is today, and maybe a little more, just really, really windy. So the city guys who played 27 holes had to fight the wind all day and still turned in some good performances. But, yeah, that wasn't a surprise. Maybe one stroke was a surprise, but I knew Hayden and Rural would go right down to the wire, and I knew there were several guys that could make a run at that city individual title. It's
been the kind of windy, Pistol, that's kept me off the course entirely, so I can only imagine what they were having to fight through on Monday.
Yeah, it was really, really tough. So good kudos to them for just getting through it. And you know what? A day like today, or like today and like Monday, I think it helps get them ready for postseason, because you're going to be ready for any conditions you face.
Couple more minutes with Rick Peterson from TopSports.news. He joins us every Thursday at this time for the local sports spotlight via the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. If you want to check out all of Pistol's great work covering our local teams, both college and high school, check it out over at TopSports.news. Let's get to the diamond sports over at Washburn here, Pistol. We will start with softball, because they're going to be in action here within about the next 14 minutes or so as they open up the MIAA tournament. Washburn softball does against Rogers State out in Hayes. How are we feeling about the Ichabod's outlook for the postseason starting today?
Well, they faced a tough one right off the bat in Rogers State. They split with them in the regular season, but it's going to be tough for them. But they're capable. They're definitely capable. If they get good pitching, they're starting to get better and better hitting, led by Jaden Labarge, who had one of the best individual performances I've ever seen in last week's doubleheader against Emporia State. 3 home runs and 7 RBI in the first game, and then another home run and an RBI in the second game. Finally, Emporia State just walked her the last couple of times she was up. And, of course, there was some boo words coming out about that, not pitching to her, but I probably would have done the same thing. But great performance from her. And if she, if they get some good hitting and good pitching, they're capable of pulling off the upset today.
Same question for Harley Douglas's Washburn baseball team, which will get underway coming up next week in the MIAA tournament. The Ichabods are playing pretty well as they get ready for postseason play. We know it's been an up and down season for the Bods on the diamond so far, Pistol, but winners of 4 out of 5 going into the postseason, including a 3-game sweep over Newman this past weekend. Have to imagine that group is feeling pretty confident, even against what is always a very deep MIAA baseball field.
Yeah, I'm thinking the sweep will obviously help them. They haven't had too many of those lately. But also the fact that they now get a week off to maybe rest up a little bit, work on some things they need to work on, get some people a little healthier. and they're capable of beating, like the softball team. They're capable of beating almost anybody. They've beaten several ranked teams, but then they've had some really frustrating outings and really frustrating stretches. So hopefully this week will just get them ready to go.
Couple quick ones for you, Pistol, from the Washburn basketball front, because it is transfer portal season for college sports after all. And Washburn has already announced a couple of new players have announced they've committed to Washburn out of the portal. Let's start with one guy that we've seen before, Marcus Glock from Northwest Missouri State, going into just his sophomore year, got plenty of eligibility left. And I feel like it was a pretty big deal, Pistol, for Washburn to add a 3-point shooter extraordinaire with Braden Shorter on his way to Division I.
Yeah, I mean, it is, because that's a big part of their offense. And, with a great point guard by Jack Batchelor, he can set up those 3-point shooters, as can the other players on the team. So, yeah, they need somebody like that, and hopefully he can step in and really be a factor, maybe not lead the nation in three-pointers, but be a key threat.
Meanwhile, even more recently, it was just this past Friday night, the Ichabod's picked up a transfer portal commitment from Jeremiah Jones, a sophomore guard transferring in from the University of Mary up in North Dakota. And I'm not trying to say he's going to replace Jacob Hanna, because, Jacob Hanna, one of the best one-year careers ever in Washburn history. But I do know that Jeremiah Jones last year was third in the country in total steals and steals per game. That feels like a pretty big addition, having somebody who can match up like that on the defensive end.
Yeah, because as good as Jacob Hanna was offensively, I thought he was just as good defensively, rebounding, and as a team player as anybody. I mean, he was really good in all those facets. So yeah, they need somebody, but hey, coaches preach all the time. It starts with defense. So anybody they can get that can be a factor on the defensive end is a good start.
Rick Peterson, our guest, joining us for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. Rick Peterson of TopSports.news. Pistol, we were looking at the calendar. Next weekend is when we start to see our first regional events of the season. So with this weekend to come, what things will you have your eye on locally as far as competition goes as we enter the final month of high school sports competition for this academic year?
Yeah, well, as soon as we get off the phone, I'm off to see city tennis, which is always a big event. And city tennis from here, it's one of those sports that goes quick. They'll go quick to league, go quick to regional, and quick to state. And so they're really starting their crunch time. And then, as you said, the other sports are we have city swimming next week, followed quickly by state. So, yeah, you mentioned it. We're in crunch time now.
The rubber is meeting the road, and to keep track of all of it, go to TopSports.news. It's an essential daily read for Shawnee County High School sports and Washburn University athletics. Nobody does it better than Rick Peterson. He joins us every Thursday on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline for the local sports spotlight. Pistol, enjoy city tennis. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. Hopefully it will, and cooperates throughout the weekend. And we'll talk to you next week.
Look forward to it.
That is Rick Peterson. We will step aside for a timeout. We'll come back. We'll play a quick round of either or over under to wrap up this 3 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. Little either or over under to wrap up this first hour of 580 Sports Talk. I'll go rapid fire with some Chiefs draftee either or over unders.
Okay.
Either or more sacks in 2025. Ashton Gelati or Omar Norman Lott?
I will go with Omar Norman Lott. How many did Turk get last year?
He had like 6.5.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll get to that number as a rookie, but I am going to say, 6.5. I will go from the interior guy because there's going to be so many double teams on Chris Jones.
That's true. It gives opportunities for interior pass rush with juice to thrive if 95 is going to be doubled. And I think there is certainly an opportunity for Norman Lott to hoover up some sacks. How about over under? Let's set it at 17.5 receptions for Jalen Royals.
17.5 receptions. I will say over. I'm going to go over here because he's going to have just under 1 per game for most of the season and then catch 8 balls from the backup quarterback in week 18.
There you go.
Who's backing up? Who's the backup now?
Minshew.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Over. Hammer that over. He might catch 10 in week 18.
And lastly, over under 47.5 touches for Brashard Smith. That was the number of touches Samaje Perine got last year, 48. So 47.5, over under.
Over. Yeah, I will go with the over. I think Brashard Smith is better than Carson Steele. And I think he's going to eat some of those touches. I think they want him to run the ball more than they wanted Samaje Perine to run the ball. Remember, all the big moments for Perine were on passing downs. That was all the big moments for Samaje Perine this past year. So, no, I'll go over that total. Okay. I think they want him to run it a little bit. Plus, you probably want to lighten the load for Pacheco a little bit because the way he runs means he's prone to getting injured.
No, there's always been a role for that third back in the Chiefs offense, and I do think Smith has the best chance to seize it.
All right, real quick. After this draft, I'll give you an either or. Sorry, Raiders, I'm going to leave you out right now. I'm going to give you one team to ride with for the next 3 years. Broncos or Chargers? Who's going to have the most success?
Most success in the next 3 years?
Mm-hmm. You're hitching your wagon to one of those teams.
It's tough. Actually, you know what? It's not tough. You take the team with a better quarterback, and to me, that's still Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Like, simple as.
Are they the team with the better coach as well?
I kind of think yes.
Payton did such a freaking good job. Like, he's an ass. A gigantic ass. But, man, he did a good job this past year.
Coming up.
Although so did Harbaugh.
Yeah, he did. Coming up at the 4 o'clock hour, we'll take a look at the Royals a month in, a changing role for Travis Kelce, and what is wrong with you on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk coming your way on this Thursday afternoon. Dan Lucero, Brendan Rosinski, Spencer Dupuis, all with you for hour number 2 here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and of course, on our YouTube stream where you could see we had a frantic beginning to this hour on the program on the YouTube, but we are back on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on our Facebook page, WIBW News. Got the BSOD over here. That was kind of out of nowhere. Didn't see that coming.
The blue screen of death. My family computer, when I was growing up, we had one computer in the house. It was in my parents' room. And I don't know what the hell was wrong with it, but we went through a few month period at one point when I was, I don't know, early in high school, junior high, something like that, where it could be every 10 minutes, it could be every 10 days, but you were just always at risk of getting the blue screen on the home computer. Don't know what was wrong with it. Eventually, it just stopped. Not sure what we even did to fix it.
Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't seen the BSOD on this computer ever. But
much more likely that my computer would get it than that one.
Yes, that computer is slower than erosion. This one, this is where we run the cameras out of. This is a little bit of how the sausage gets made, but it's got 2 cameras. There's the one shot, which we use when there's only one person in the studio, and then there's the 2 shot, which is the overhead that you see if you're watching the screen right now on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. And I tried to flip it from the 1 shot to the 2 shot, and instead of just doing it like it always does, it hung, and then it gave me the blue screen of death. So, anyhow, if I sound a little less than cool, calm, and collected to start this hour, forgive me that particular transgression, and we'll keep it moving here on the program. Again, I'm Dan, that's Brendan, that's Spencer. We're here with you for the next 2 hours on 580 Sports Talk today.
The greats. And not that we do a bad job, but like the all-time greats can skate right through those things and it doesn't faze them at all. That is something I've worked hard on in my broadcasting career to not let things like that get to me, because I've shared this before, but I have a vivid memory of a basketball game at Hayden having the JV game go to double overtime and totally jacking up the start of our varsity broadcast. And I think it took me until halftime of the girls' varsity game to get my bearings back. I was very flustered. Larry Latimer did what he could to keep us grounded, but
as always,
I was not in a very good mood to start that broadcast that night.
No, been there, brother. Trust me. I have been where you speak of. No doubt about it. We are glad that you are with us on this Thursday following some Royals baseball. We were tardy to the party by about 7 minutes later than usual today. So thanks to those long scoring innings for the Royals for saving us, I guess, 7 minutes of oxygen in the studio, or however you want to put it. But Royals beat the Rays 8-2 to complete a sweep in Tampa Bay, or in Tampa. They play in Tampa. It's Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, the water is the bay.
They did not play in the water.
That'd be so sick, though.
It'd be really cool.
Yeah, what if they had a floating stadium on the water?
They some of the renderings for and actually now I don't know if it was Tampa or if it was somewhere else. Like renderings for a stadium that was basically on the water and it had a retractable roof that floated, and the roof would just float in and cover the field.
Certainly, in a place that has hurricanes, that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So we've got some more Royals baseball to get into on the program today. We're going to start this hour by taking a look at the first month of Royals baseball. They are now 32 games in and 2 games above the 500 ledger at 17-15, having won 9 of their last 10. The good, the bad, the ugly from the month of April as we begin May today. And, of course, we'll take a look at some starts that raise an eyebrow one way or another. And we ask, is this a real thing, or is this just some small sample size noise? We'll discuss that this hour. Also, Vahe Gregorian had a column in the Kansas City Star about Travis Kelce. And a couple of the quotes from Brett Veach, a couple of the word choices from Brett Veach I thought were really interesting. And I'm going to ask you guys what you think he means when he says, Brett Veach, about Travis Kelce, that the numbers won't be the same, but he'll have more of an impact. What do you mean by that, Brett Beach? That's what we're going to do. We're going to hit him with the Drewski. What do you mean by that? What does that mean for number 87 as he approaches what I think most people believe is the final season of his Hall of Fame career?
I think he believes it's the final season of his Hall of Fame career.
It kind of sounds like he believes it's the final season of his Hall of Fame career as well. So we'll get into that later on this hour. We've also got a round of What Is Wrong With You coming up here on the program. You can join the discussion on our YouTube chat if you are watching the show on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Go subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel and you can interact with your fellow listeners, interact with us, your hosts, as we go along through the show. You can also text the program, 785-272-9429. And the more of you that subscribe, the faster we can get to our goal of getting the attention of the Kansas City Royals and letting us do the hot dog derby. Because I've decided that's our new goal.
Apparently, at least at one point in time, you entered a raffle, like some sort of sweepstakes to get picked. But I imagine if you're a celebrity, which the three of us obviously are, you get special dispensation.
I would think so. I would think that our enormous fame would get us bumped to the front of the line.
I would think so.
Enormous. I could get arrested in this town. I don't know what y'all are talking about.
No one knows who I am. That's pretty damn obvious. But I think if we knew the right people, we knew the right avenues to go through, we could,
every now and again
we could find a way to make it work.
Every now and again you have that interaction. There was one time, this was a long time ago, I was still living in an apartment at the time. So I was single. It was still pretty early days in my time living in Topeka, and I ordered a pizza, and the delivery man knew who I was.
You know who knows who I am? The people who work the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A. They know who I am because everyone there, whether I've seen them before or not, when I go through the drive-thru or do the curbside pickup, says, "Oh, good to see you again." Like they're told to be friendly, but like, "Oh, Brendan, how are you?" is definitely not part of the training.
Where everybody knows your name and it's Chick-fil-A.
We did have a stretch, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago. My wife and I went, I think, for lunch back-to-back days. We were out. We were taking our daughter around doing stuff and just didn't have time to get lunch anywhere else. We just stopped in the drive-thru on the way home. And the guy at the window definitely did try to, like, ask how the family was. She's like, "Oh, how's your wife doing?" "She's great. She's waiting for this frosted lemonade, bro. Put the fries in the bag."
So I had
literally.
So I went to Chick-fil-A last night. We were coming back from swimming lessons for Asher. It was his last swimming lesson. He did great yesterday. He was splashing. He was having a great time. He was you sit him on the edge of the pool and see if they'll launch themselves at you, and he was doing it over and over again. Like, he was having a blast. He had a great time.
Is he ready for the backyard pool?
No, probably. Well, more so than he would have been.
That's good.
It's going to be such hard work. We had a tarp mishap, let's just say, this winter. So getting that pool ready is going to be an arduous task, but we're up for it. We'll figure it out. Anyhow,
Braden on the YouTube stream, by the way, as if Chick-fil-A knows you this well, imagine Cane's when it opens. That's true.
The brand is out of control.
You would not believe how many people have sent me DMs, have approached me in person, have sent me texts.
I was one of them.
Yes, Spencer.
I was one of them.
Came up to me. Our buddy Pat Strothman, former host of the show, he sent me a text yesterday mentioning it. Like, everybody knows at this point what is coming to the site of the former Steak and Shake, RIP to your beef tallow or whatever. And it's going to be a Raising Cane's. And I am a 2-minute drive from it.
I have an idea.
That's very, very dangerous for me and my wallet.
I have a vast idea, Brendan, Mr. Salesman.
Okay.
You should try to give us some kind of opening day promotion. Like, we should do the show live from their grand opening.
Spencer, this is like telling us, hey, we should host a sports talk show from 3 to 6, as if I'm not working on it.
So it is so funny, though, that your brand is so strong.
It's crazy, dude.
After all these years.
I get people who will send me DMs on social media, like, guess what I got for lunch today? Nice. I'm happy for you. Just out of the blue, people I don't normally talk to who just follow me on Twitter or Blue Sky or whatever. Hey, guess what I ate today?
It's nice to be known for something.
It is.
Even if it's something as anodyne as I have a favorite fast food place, and it's the one with the chicken and the box combo.
It's the one with the sauce.
Yeah.
The sauce is the boss, brother.
Anywho, back to my Chick-fil-A story.
Yes, please.
And 580 fast food chicken talk. So we're in the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A. We're coming back from swimming lessons. We're going to pick something up. So I have to cook. And we're ordering, and the person taking our order obviously knew. Like, she had help and, going, learning the ropes. First, maybe time doing the drive-thru or whatever it is. She took our order, no issues there. Swiped my card, sent me on my way. And as I pull away, I turned to my wife and said, I said thank you, and they did not say my pleasure in return. And that is the first time that's ever happened.
Have you retained a lawyer?
So my first thought was that it was like if you go to Dairy Queen and they don't turn the Blizzard upside down before you give it to you, and you're supposed to say, you got to turn that upside down. Otherwise, that's on you. That's a free one for me. I don't pay if you don't turn the Blizzard upside down to prove the structural integrity of my ice cream treat. Is it the same deal at a Chick-fil-A where if they don't say it's their pleasure to serve you, your meal's a freebie?
I saw a video a few weeks ago. I think it was a TikTok. I don't see it on the TikTok app. I just see them after they've already been considered funny and make it to other social media.
Yes, correct. That's also my interaction with TikTok. Yes.
But it was someone pulling up. They were pretending they were at a Chick-fil-A, gets his order, and the guy at the drive-thru says, "You're welcome," instead of "my pleasure." And then 3 guys in black suits with sunglasses running from off screen, grab him and pull him away.
That video.
Yeah, you've seen it. Yeah. It's very, very funny. You could have said, "Is there a hotline I can call?" The
person who gave us our food did hit us with
good.
My pleasure, though. So it restored balance to the universe. Anyway, what do we do? Do we talk sports on this show? I've forgotten. Let's
rarely.
Let's get into some Royals baseball. It's a good checkpoint, right? We started a new month today, May 1st. The Royals winners 1-0 now in the month of May after going 16-15 in March and April. The Royals were winners today, 8-2 over the Rays. They've won 9 out of 10. To say they've had some ups and some downs this season would be to tell the story accurately. They have certainly struggled mightily offensively for the better part of this season, though today's performance was the best sign yet that there may be some light at the end of the tunnel. An 8-run, 15-hit outburst against a pitcher in Shane Baz, who'd been one of the best in the American League in the month of April, gives the Royals something to feel good about as they head into a 7-game stretch. Their next week's worth of games. You've got 3 against Baltimore. The only starting pitching staff in baseball worse than Baltimore is Colorado. This is the worst starting staff in the American League that the Royals are going to see the next 3 days at Camden Yards. And, oh, by the way, they pulled the fence in left field, so right-handers can actually hit home runs there now. And after that, it's 4 at home with the White Sox. And remember when the White Sox, like the first 5 games of the season, had one of the best starting pitching ERA in the American League? That's not the case anymore. The White Sox still stink. They're 7-23. Entering today's action. Not the worst team in baseball. They have that going for them, which is nice, but they still stink. So anyway, point is, there's an opportunity moving forward for the offense to get going. But as I look at what the Royals have done here this first month of the season, there are a couple of trends, good and bad, that I want to ask you guys, get the wisdom of crowds here. Is this something that is real? Is this something that we should expect to sustain? Or is this something that's a bit of a 1-month mirage, either positively or negatively? And I want to start with a guy who had another good game today, 3 for 5 with 3 stolen bases. Maikel Garcia's season batting line is up to 296 with a 353 on base, a 788 OPS. He's got 9 doubles, a pair of home runs. He's finally on the plus side of the stolen base ledger. He's 7 of 12 stealing bases after going 3 for 3 today. He's walked 10 times and struck out just 18 times in 108 at-bats. Is what we have seen from Maikel Garcia the first month of the season a 1-month sample size fluke, or are we seeing some real growth from a young player who entered this season without a position, without a true defined starting role, but has really seized one, and not only has seized a role in the lineup, but has seized a role in the middle of the order the last few games?
I mean, it's more real than his 1-week hot start a season ago. Look, we talk all the time about the good process stuff with Maikel Garcia, the controlling the things you can control, and more importantly than any of that, it's being able to hit the ball really hard. And when you hit the ball hard, it is more likely, generally speaking, that you're going to end up getting a hit or hitting for power or whatever. There are a number of different things. So the fact that he has been able to do that consistently for this long is obviously an important thing. And hopefully this is the fruits of his labor being bared out a little bit. Going back to last season for him, he actually did hit pretty well. I think I have the right month or the right year here. Yeah, he actually did hit pretty well in May. Where it completely collapsed was at the start of June. He batted 142 in June last year with a slug under 200. He was brutal, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the season. He really struggled in September as well last year. But there were moments, and it was kind of hard to parse those out because like Bobby Witt was becoming a true baseball superstar right in front of us, and there were other things going on. Cole Reagan's doing the same, Seth Lugo's great year, etc. Kind of got lost in the shuffle that, hey, he actually had 3 different months last year where he was an above average player and looked really good, all things considered. So I'm going to go and say that this is a yes, that this is legit, that he has hit this well, and it is the fruits of his labor being bared out a little bit, that all those process things, hitting the ball hard, hitting it hard consistently, squaring up regularly, I do think this is something for real. Maybe not quite this good for the full season, but I think this is more real than it is fake for sure.
There's a lot of red, and red is good on Maikel Garcia's Baseball Savant page. He's in the top 10% of baseball in average exit velocity, hard hit percentage, squared up percentage, and whiff percentage. So he's not doing a lot of swinging and missing. His strikeouts are down to a career low. His walks are up to a career high by a percentage of at-bats in both cases. And if you watch him, this dude stings the baseball. And he seems to have found that happy medium between, well, I hit the ball hard. I got to try and yank everything over the fence. I got to turn all that into power to, well, let's just hit the ball hard and keep it off the ground. And good things will happen if I just hit it hard and I hit it on the line. That's okay too. Like, because I think that was the balance that he struggled to find last year, because he had that really good winter ball performance where he hit for some power. And then he had that early start to the season, as you mentioned last season, where he hit 3 home runs in the first 6 games of the year. And he finished last season, you may recall, with 7 home runs. So he almost half of his home runs in the first week of the season. He went to try and sell out for power a little bit, and it didn't work out. And he took a big step back from the hitter he was in 2023. Well, now it looks like he's made a big step forward, and it's a real simple equation. You're putting the ball in play more often. You're giving yourself a chance to get on base more often because you're walking more, and you're productive because when you hit the ball, you hit it hard. And that's just a gift that Maikel has had his entire career. Even last year, when he had the bad numbers, he was hitting the ball hard. He was just either hitting it on the ground or hitting it harmlessly, really high in the air. He's found, it seems, through this first month, a happy medium. And right now, he has to be in the lineup every day, which is a bit of a conundrum, because when they got Jonathan India, the idea was, well, that probably means that Maikel Garcia, like they've played him in center field, they've played him in right field, they've moved him around, but I think he's got to be your regular third baseman moving forward, because I think guys benefit too. It's not easy to be a Ben Zobrist. Like, he made it look easy because he was a really, really good player for a long time. But it is not easy to play like 4 different positions in a week and start 6 games at 4 different positions. You keep moving around the diamond, and you have to maintain a level of performance at the plate. That's not an easy thing to do. Not everybody can do it. So I think Maikel would benefit from a run of starts at third base. And I think if he gets that, I think he can continue to do this. I think this is more real than not for Maikel Garcia. How about, real or not, starting pitching for the Royals? This is a group that going into today, and I want to make sure I get the numbers right. I pulled this from Jake Eisenberg, not Jesse Eisenberg, wrong guy. Jake Eisenberg, not the guy from the Social Network. Jake Eisenberg, voice of the Royals, one of the voices of the Royals on Blue Sky earlier today. Through the first month of the season, the Royals starting rotation was 3rd in baseball with a 3.16 earned run average, tied for first with 14 total quality starts, and first in innings pitched by starters with 176 2/3 innings. Royals got another quality start today from Seth Lugo, and I believe, dropped that team starter ERA. Starting pitching for the Royals has now allowed 3 earned runs or fewer in 26 out of 32 games. It's probably not this good because this has been outrageously good and it's floated the Royals through this difficult first month. But how long can these guys keep on being this good?
I think it's for real, the pitching. The only thing that has changed for me when it comes to the pitching is, well, not changed, but the only concern I have is the exact same concern I had at the start of the year is I don't know that they can be healthy for the entire year. That's the only real concern that I personally have. Otherwise, like, Reagans is that dude. I've had worries about Lugo, but he has been really good. He was great today. Michael Lorenzen has been really good his last 2 starts and now has 3 quality starts on the season. Waka has been what you would expect from him. Chris Bubic has, frankly, been better than I even expected, and I thought he would be at least pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, all things considered, I think this is real. They were great last year. It feels like more of the same so far this year, and I have no reason to believe that they can't keep this going unless, again, you run into injury problems, and, well, Reagans already has a bit of an injury problem. He couldn't make his start yesterday. Sounds like he should be good to go going forward, but still, that's the only concern I have is that guys are just going to get injured because their run of pitcher health a year ago was almost unprecedented.
So if you want to say anybody's maybe out pitching their peripherals, it would probably be Lugo, at least to start the season, a little bit more of the long ball than you're accustomed to seeing. Weren't good early on, but he started slow in that regard last year and picked it up, and he's got now 13 strikeouts in his last, I believe it's 12 innings, so starting to move in the right direction on that front. So not worried about Lugo, really. Bubic has been terrific. Reagans is Reagans. Waka and Lorenzen have been, I think, what you would expect from them as well. Maybe Waka's been a little bit better. Still much more of a 5 and fly starter than maybe you would prefer, but that's fine. Like in this modern era of baseball, if that's the guy that's only giving you 5, everybody else is giving you 6, you can live with that. So it's the depth, it's the efficiency, it's the ability to get deep into games that is most encouraging because that decreases the exposure to a bullpen that's still trying to figure out the middle and the front ends, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you feel really good about Urseg and Estevez at the back right now, and Hunter Harvey was off to a great start before he got hurt. But that middle inning group, that 6th, 7th inning group, and the front end, still trying to figure out who your guys are there. Like, if Daniel Lynch is a guy, if Zerpa can find some form, what you can trust Schreiber to do against righties. Steven Cruz is off to an impressive start, but I don't think he pitched in the Tampa Bay series. So you're still trying to figure that out, but that's a little less important part of your bullpen when your starter's working through the 6th every time out. Here's one more real or not for the Royals through the first month of the season, and this one is a negative. The lack of power. Bobby Witt Jr.'s 3rd home run of the season today makes it 15 in 32 games for the Royals as a club. That is the fewest in Major League Baseball. Vinny hit his 4th last night to lead the team. Witt's got 3. Salvi and Garcia have 2. Kyle Isbell, Drew Waters, Freddie Fermin, and MJ Melendez. Remember him? They all have 1 home run. Is this going to be a team that is this power deficient all year to the tune of a 328 slug?
I don't think they will be this power. I think this is worse than they actually are, but I also do think this is real. So, like, how bad it is now, no, that's fake. Are they a team that will have a power deficiency this year? Yes, I do believe that is real. Like, I don't really know what's going to fix, I don't see Hunter Renfroe getting hot and hitting 18 home runs this year. I just don't. Witt is going to get his. I think Vinny will eventually find that power once he gets the contact a little more consistently. I do think he'll be able to show off more of that power. Garcia is going to hit a few, but he's not going to hit a ton. I mean, this is just a team that doesn't have a lot of pop in its lineup when it comes to hitting the home run. So, yeah, I think it will be better than this, but I don't think it will ever be like, oh, man, it's home run derby every day at the K. I don't think we're ever going to see that from this group as currently constructed.
I think it is a slow power start for Bobby Witt Jr. I certainly think there's more capacity for him to hit home runs. Salvador Perez is another guy, just 2 in the first month. I think as hard as he's hitting the ball, I think some of those April doubles turn into May homers for veteran players a lot of the time. And I think you're going to start to see that from Sal. Vinny's up to 4 now, and hopefully his at-bats the last couple of days are a portent that he can get going. But yeah, beyond that, where's like even the power potential? Like even the best case scenarios for guys in their careers, like Jonathan India hit 21 homers in his rookie year, but he hasn't been a 20-homer guy since then.
No.
And some of that was getting to play at Great American Ballpark as a Red. Maikel Garcia, it's probably better if he stays hitting the way he's hitting now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's much more than a 10 to 15 home run ceiling.
Yep.
The question is, can you have a good offense? Is there enough doubles power? Is there enough speed on the bases that you can still put up some crooked numbers, even if you're not leaning on, the old Earl Weaver adage of sitting and waiting for the 3-run homer? And that is the question that I don't know that that's a great answer if you're the Royals, because you've got to hit a lot of doubles. Yeah. You've got to be exceptional on the bases. And the Royals so far this year, as we've discussed, have not been exceptional. They ran into an out last night. Kyle Isbell's 30 feet off of second base on a ground ball to the shortstop. What the hell is that? I'd take a little leaguer out of the game for making that mistake. Like 8-9-year-old little league, I'd take a kid out of the game for that. And then Drew Waters gets thrown out trying to go first to third on a single today. Overslides the bag, gets tagged before that. Then tough break a little bit. The tag like grazed the back of his helmet. But still, like there's so much running into outs that the Royals do on the base paths, and that limits your opportunities to score runs and have big innings. The surest and quickest way to do it is to get somebody on base and hit the ball over the dang fence. And if Hunter Renfroe's not hitting the ball over the dang fence, and MJ Melendez isn't around to even try to hit the ball over the fence,
he ain't doing jack.
Yeah, there's just not that much power potential. I do think that Salvi and Bobby and Vinny are gonna get theirs, but beyond that, there's just not enough, and that's got to be priority number one. For the Royals, if they do get into the trade market, they got to find somebody who hits the ball over the fence.
Side note, not super related. I've never seen The Social Network. Like, I know what the movie is, I know what it's about. I never saw it.
It's really good.
What?
Jesse Eisenberg has acted in 50 movies. I can tell you I have not seen a single one.
You've never seen a movie he's in? Yes.
I have never seen a single thing with him in it.
What's the one where he's zombie killer and
Zombieland?
Nope. So good.
No, he was also
on cable all the time. That's on FX like every 15 minutes.
He was also in Zombieland Double Tap. Never saw it.
I didn't see the sequel.
No. I
Batman versus Superman.
No, Superman sucks. I have no interest in Superman. Oh, I'm good at everything. Wow, really interesting.
Yeah, Superman's the best superhero. What Batman is? I'm rich and I have cool toys. Superman's way cooler than Batman.
Superman's not interesting. Oh, I'm good at everything.
He comes from a different planet. What do you mean he's not interesting?
So what? I'm not into space. Wow, aren't these planets out here cool? Not really. It's a light. What does that do for me? So, he comes from Krypton. Sick.
Yes.
Sick.
He landed here in Kansas.
Wow, awesome. He could have been from Virginia Beach for all I care. Like it does the exact same thing for me. So what? He was also in an episode of Modern Family, which I don't remember seeing.
How can you say that's not more interesting than Batman? Batman's just like, hey, I got a butler. I got cool toys. Anybody could be Batman. You could be Batman.
I think his personality is more interesting. I think his convictions are more interesting.
Outrageous. We had text from 785 asked how MJ was doing at AAA. Last look.
Not good.
4 for 31 in 8 games with the Storm Chasers. 12 strikeouts and 35 at bats. So 31 at bats, 35 plate appearances. So it's not what you want for MJ, but it's a long season.
Yeah,
and he's going to spend a lot of it in Omaha.
It's going to be a long season for him, it sounds like.
If he keeps swinging it like that.
Get to know Omaha, Nebraska.
We'll take a timeout here at 580 Sports Talk. Come
city.
Back with a round of What is Wrong with You? Now, what the hell's wrong with Brendan hating on Superman?
Exactly.
The best superhero. He's the best superhero.
There's no intrigue. Like, what's the personality conflict? Oh, I have a hot girlfriend, and I'm good at everything.
His identity. He can't let the world know that he's Superman. He's supposed to live a regular life. That's incredibly interesting.
I hide things from the public all the time. I'm not interesting.
Maybe.
Oh boy, I keep.
Maybe
secrets.
you would be interesting if you didn't keep so many secrets.
I really wouldn't be.
Texter for the 913 says you're just jealous. Another text from the.
Trust me, I don't need someone who's good at everything to make me jealous. Give me someone who's good at like one thing, maybe.
The text from 785 says The Dark Knight is the best superhero movie ever made.
That is a fact. That is a fact.
It's a very good movie. Very, very good piece of film.
Yeah, see, that's what it is. Like, it's a superhero movie, but like the actual filmmaking is very, very good.
It's an outstanding film.
Part of it filmed in Chicago?
Dark Knight was, yeah.
So
the bank scene was specifically, right?
Yeah, and the road scene.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you, which we are appallingly late for, is brought to you by our buddy Mo, State Farm Agent Ryan, Mo Winkle Insurance and Financial Services.
Next time I see him, I'll ask who his favorite superhero is.
We are starting a new month on What is Wrong with You today. So we have no current champion. If you missed it yesterday, our April champion is the not so great escape. Or 48 Hours from Freedom. We're going to come up with a good name for it.
That's a good one.
Yeah, the guy who escaped from jail 88 days into a 90-day sentence. Just took off and was caught 35 minutes later. Two new stories today to start the month of May. Spencer, I'm going to let you bat lead off.
All right, we're going to Florida for the birthday suit bandit. I saw this headline and I immediately picked the story and I was like, all right, we haven't had one of these in a while.
Good. Nude people. Love it.
Naked Florida man caught trying to break into a woman's home. Matthew Hunter of Palm Coast is accused of trying to break into his neighbor's home while naked, according to Flagler County Sheriff's Office. The 63-year-old was arrested on charges of attempted burglary, criminal mischief, exposure of sexual organs. He's now being labeled as a birthday suit bandit after they said he tried to break into the home while naked. He's 63 years old. Just after midnight on Saturday, April 26th, the Flagler County Sheriff's Office received a 911 call about the nude man, later identified as Hunter, who was trying to break into a residence in the Palm Coast. The woman inside the home called 911 after she heard what sounded like a knife trying to cut through the lock of her front door. When deputies arrived, they found Hunter walking away from the woman's house completely naked as described. They also discovered gouge marks on the door frame and molding. Digging deeper here, according to the arrest report, Hunter is the woman's neighbor. The affidavit states that the woman saw Hunter through her front window as he yelled that he was going to come inside to the home and demand that she open the door. Deputies later spoke with Hunter's wife at their home, who said her husband has been drinking heavily and was taking psychiatric medication. She admitted she was afraid of him, but had no idea he had left their home as she had been asleep. He's expected to appear in arraignment on May 27th in the morning of that day. So,
hey man, maybe don't drink a ton while you take your various pills.
Yeah,
just a thought.
That's a pretty simple lesson to learn from that one.
Imagine seeing a 63-year-old dude's just slanging around on your front yard.
When I first saw this, I thought this was like a 63-year-old man, like a guy who's a creeper, like a certified creeper, but it's not. It's like a normal married guy. Air quotes on the normal.
I don't know. I was gonna say, maybe not entirely normal.
Not as normal as you.
Leads
He
somewhat
or his
a
wife
normal
might
life.
My story has a name too. The Delco Pooper. We are going to Philadelphia Tuesday, the intersection of 4th and Madison and Prospect Park. There was some sort of road rage dispute at like 4 p.m. And a woman got out of her car, walked over to a gray car, took a squat on the hood and pooped on the hood of the car. And then she walked away with what Philly Mag describes as a, quote, defiant, almost giggly smile. The woman in the gray car then called the Delco Pooper a name that I can't repeat on the radio. There is video of the deed.
I don't need to see that.
From start to finish, let's just say. But yes, road rage incident. in Prospect Park in Philadelphia, and a woman got out of her car, walked over to another car, mounted the car, dropped her pants, and took a deuce on the hood of the car. She has been identified as 42-year-old Ridley Park resident Christina Solometto, and she has been charged with several offenses, including indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, criminal mischief, property damage, harassment, and depositing waste on the highway.
I'll say.
Didn't we just have a story recently about somebody going into like a walk-in cooler?
Into a walk-in cooler and poop. Yeah.
In Pennsylvania. It was in Pennsylvania too, I'm pretty sure.
People are way too free to think that they can just defecate anywhere. You're not animals, all right? You might have animal instincts, but you're not an animal. You were raised in a home somewhere. You know how to use a toilet and find a toilet. So go find that toilet and use it.
I just can't imagine being so, like, I don't know, man. Like, how does your brain work that you're in a dispute with someone and you have the thought, I'm going to poop on this person's car, and then to execute the thought, to not at any point have an alarm blare in the back of your brain and say, hey, maybe don't poop in public. Maybe don't do this. Maybe this is a bad idea. And just no, walk, work it up, force it out, and then carry on about your day. That's not like you spit on their car. Like you spit on somebody's car or you throw something at somebody's car. That's like a split-second decision. Going to drop a dump on somebody's car, you not only have to think to do it, you got to take the time. You got to have had like a Wawa burrito a couple of hours before.
Ew. Yeah, like you had time, more than enough time to go over it in your head and think, is this a good idea or not? And
yes,
you never changed your mind.
It doesn't strike you that it's a bad idea while you are pooping in full view of strangers on the hood of someone's car.
You know, you worked in an office for 20 years. No one calls you an office worker. You poop in Delco one time.
And you're the Delco pooper forever.
I'm going to go tie goes to sobriety on this one.
Yeah, we assume, the woman was not charged with public intox.
Yeah.
Fully in control of her facilities.
Wanted to dump.
Cop a squat on the drop, take a drop on the drop, as Cameron would say. The Delco Pooper is our first daily champion for the month of May on What Is Wrong With You, sponsored by State Farm agent Ryan Mo Winkle. I don't know if car insurance covers that, but ask Mo. I bet he'll tell you. RyanMowinkle.com. That's MOHWINKLE.com. We'll come back and talk sports on 580 Sports Talk. 448 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan, Brendan, Spencer. Still to come on the show today in our final hour, a full 5 o'clock hour of the show today, a rare treat of late. We'll have 580 Sports Talk headlines, including a playoff roundup, more thoughts on the Royals sweeping the Rays. And we'll try and get to the marrow of the Bill Belichick thing, because this is a weird story, and I don't think it's going to get any less weird as we move forward. But
I feel like it's always been weird.
Right now, we're going to talk about Travis Kelce, because we talked about yesterday what the Chiefs' personnel groupings might look like moving forward, and if with a bolstered receiver room, there's a chance that we see some more true 3-wide sets or even some 4-wide sets next year for Patrick Mahomes in the passing game, and less of the 2 tight end sets that we've seen quite a bit from the Chiefs, even though those have really worked a treat for the Chiefs with Travis Kelce and Noah Gray over the year. By the numbers, they've been one of the best teams in football, and in some ways the best version of themselves with 2 tight ends on the field. Part of that is one of them is an all-time great, but an all-time great with his skills diminishing. And we saw that play out last year for the Chiefs and for Travis Kelce. Brett Veach is quoted in a column by Vahe Gregorian at the Kansas City Star. And the gist of the quotes, and you should read the column if you have not, and you're a subscriber to the Star. The gist of the quotes, the pull quotes from Vahe on his social media account, on his X account, is that Brett Veach says the numbers won't be the same for Travis Kelce, but, quote, he'll have more of an impact. And I think it's a really interesting thing to ponder, is what his impact can be, unless we're strictly talking off the field. What his impact can be on the field if he's not getting 130 targets as he did last year. Because I don't think you can give this version of Travis Kelce 130 targets and have a real healthy passing game. No. I don't.
No,
Because
you can't.
He can't be the run after catch guy he was in his prime. But the good news is the Chiefs have a bunch of guys now that can do that, because Rashee Rice, when he's back healthy, really good at that. That was Jalen Royals' stock and trade in college. He's very similar to Rashee Rice in that way. We saw Xavier Worthy develop his run after the catch skills. He's not quite the same as Rashee Rice in that department, but he's certainly capable. And Hollywood Brown can be that guy too. Those guys are a little slighter than a Rashee Rice or even a Jalen Royals, and certainly than a Travis Kelce, but those are run after catch guys. So I don't think Travis Kelce can be that, but I don't think he needs to be that next year. Can he be the get open against a linebacker on 3rd and 4 to keep the drive alive? Can he be the red zone weapon? Can he be something like that is still a piece on the chessboard that the other team has to pay attention to, that draws attention, that helps move the chains, that still maintains that mind meld with Mahomes, and is still effective even with diminished yards per catch and target numbers? Yeah, I think that's within the realm of possibility for Travis.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, more than anything, it's not just that he probably can't do that anymore, but I think this Chiefs offense needs to evolve beyond needing him to be that guy, because sooner or later, probably sooner, he's just not going to be there, period. And you've got to find a way to evolve beyond the Travis Kelce-centric offense, which is honestly why it was such a rough thing for the Chiefs. Rough. They still won 15 games, but such a rough thing for the offense, mostly for its watchability, that Rashee Rice missed the majority of the season after that red hot start. Because remember, such a big talking point. He's doing the Kelce things, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And not having him for so long really kind of stunted the development there, of the development of the offense, I should say. So I think this is as good an opportunity as you're ever going to get to ease him back a little bit. You're still going to have him on the field plenty. He's still going to get plenty of targets, but maybe you're looking at like a 700-yard season instead of nearly 1,000-yard season. Maybe you're looking at 10% fewer snaps, 15, 20% fewer snaps over the course of the year. You paid Noah Gray all that money, you might as well get him on the field a little bit more. So I think he will have an important role for the offense. I do not think he should have the focal role of the offense anymore.
Do you think something along the lines of 63 receptions, 560 yards, and 5 touchdowns would be acceptable production?
I'd put that at the floor of acceptable, yeah.
Because that's what 35-year-old Jason Witten did in his final year before his 1 year of retirement. That was 35-year-old Jason Witten with the Cowboys.
I think he can give you a little bit more than that. Would be my floor of like, okay, this is worthwhile. If he's not giving you at least that, I'd probably think, okay, we need to start giving snaps to other guys.
The one thing he absolutely needs to be more of is a red zone weapon. Only 3 touchdowns last year. He's big. He's savvy in space.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where you could see an increase, more of an impact for Kelsey next year.
Agreed.
Those red zone chances. We got to take a time out.
Real quick, Rashee Rice coming back, right? Another weapon in there for the defense to cover is going to help him get more touchdowns regardless.
We will take that break. We'll come back and wrap up this hour of 580 Sports Talk. Of course, you can't understate Travis Kelce's mentorship and what that means to the Chiefs. Mark B points that out in the YouTube live chat. Kelce's biggest asset is his ability to teach the younger receivers how to form that relationship with the franchise, the same one that he has had, of course, for so many years. We've started to see that. We haven't really had like a receiving core grow with Patrick Mahomes, and it's interesting to think about what that could look like with Rice now in his 3rd year, Worthy entering his 2nd, Royals as a rookie. If that group can grow and learn with Patrick and do so at least for one more year with a little tutelage from a guy like Travis Kelce, that raises the ceiling for a wide receiver group, a wide receiver room that has underwhelmed, to say the least, the last couple of seasons. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk, we got some headlines to get to, and we'll do the playoff roundup as well. We'll talk about Bill Belichick and his influencer publicist girlfriend. She's the COO of a company that doesn't exist. And that's just one of the weird things about this story. And it has some parallels to me with a story of local interest. Plus some final thoughts from the Royals sweep of the Rays. That's all coming up in this final hour of 580 Sports Talk, 580 WIBW. Let's get it. Third and final hour of 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday afternoon. Thank you so much for being with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. And hello to everyone who is watching. If voyeurism is your thing, you can watch the show every day.
Hey-o.
What?
Watch the show on our YouTube channel. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. You can also watch us on Facebook at WIBW News. Not that kind of voyeurism, you sickos.
You okay? I've seen worse on YouTube before.
On YouTube? Usually that stuff gets taken down pretty quick.
Listen, you title something.
I've heard of some other
know?
words or letters in front of the word tube where you can see those kinds of things.
So back in the day when there were an even greater number of American-based streaming websites, like where you'd go to find like, oh, I need to watch this NFL game and I don't have cable, so I'm going to go to justin.tv and find this, and various other sites. An old-fashioned trick was to name it like 2001 World Series of Poker final table .mp4 and just like stream football games or wrestling events or whatever. That was a classic trick. So yeah, you could just name it like whatever. Like, oh yeah, highlights of my kid's high school football game. And it was like, oh, hello. That's not what that is.
That is definitely not what there's blocking and tackling happening, but not that kind.
R.I.P. Justin.tv. What a website.
Man, that takes me back. Holy cow.
I've never heard
Pour
of that.
some out for some of the long forgotten streaming websites.
I watched a lot of wrestling pay-per-views on websites like that. By the way, that became Twitch. So Twitch back in its like Wild West days. It was called Justin.tv, and it was like the Wild West of the internet. It was awesome.
Oh, the only ones that I remember were Reddit streams.
Oh yeah, Reddit streams.
That was big when I was in college.
Oh yeah.
And then
sometimes there's a game you really got to watch.
And then like when I was in high school and whatnot, if you wanted to get music, it was like Pirate Bay.
Were you a LimeWire user back in the day?
I was, yes.
Yeah. My best friend's
Torrenting.
brother was. Their
Yeah.
computer was just a sludge heap of viruses.
When I was a kid, my sister, she would download all these movies.
Mhm.
She was probably like freshman, sophomore of high school. Download all like regular DVD movies, but not DVDs. So
Right.
like whatever the big movie was, we got a paper in the mail from Verizon Fios saying, you better stop or else.
That's pretty funny.
And my
That's
mom
wild.
was so confused.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, anyway,
And-
watch the YouTube stream.
And if you want any of the of that kind of stuff, you're gonna have to be a paid tier subscriber for that. The good stuff's behind a paywall. 580 Sports Talk, the name of the channel. Just click the subscribe button.
Only sports.
Who knows what you'll find? Here in the final hour of
Top
580
1%
Sports
of
Talk.
only sports.
The final hour of 580 Sports Talk. I'm Dan, by the way. That's Brendan. That's Spencer. Gang's all here for this final hour. We got our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We're going to talk about this Bill Belichick story as it continues to unfold because it's reminding me of another celebrity coach who was hired not long ago by a college football program, a little closer to where we are. And things that felt impolite to say out loud about that are maybe feeling a little impolite to say out loud about what's going on with Bill Belichick. But maybe somebody needs to say them. At the very least, they need to be said to the hoodie himself. Also, we have some final thoughts from the Royals-Rays series. Royals complete the sweep with an 8-2 win earlier this afternoon. We'll double back to last night. Talk about the kid, Noah Cameron, 6 1/3 innings, a no-hit ball before finally giving up the first hit of the night last night. Everything the Royals could have hoped for and more from the 25-year-old southpaw making his major league debut. His reward, by the way, was getting sent down to Omaha today. Immediately optioned back to the minor leagues.
I saw somebody that broadcast sports in the state of Kansas. I'm not going to name his name. He was like freaking out on X, the everything app, that it was happening. And it was like, why?
Not everyone can be a ball knower.
But like the whole point was they were calling up for a game if Cole Reagans was healthy.
Yeah, so you can send it back down so you can keep getting normal work.
Yes.
And so that you can have an extra bullpen arm should you need one. You'd rather have that on hand than a guy who just started, and you're not going to probably have him start again.
Yeah.
The only reason you would keep him around is if you thought he was going to have to start again this weekend. So, if anything, it's a good sign that the Royals sent Cameron down because they believe they're going to have Cole Reagans available at some point this weekend in Baltimore. Or, at the very least, they're going to have him available by what would be his next turn in the rotation. So, you farm Cameron back out and you say, hey, congrats on the win, kid. Here's a first-class ticket to Omaha.
Here's some
Do
confidence.
you think they fly directly from Tampa to Omaha? Probably not.
No.
Got to catch a connecting flight. I've flown into Tampa from Kansas City, but
you probably have to fly to Kansas City.
yes, you have to catch a connecting flight. So we'll get to that a little bit later on in the hour as well. Of course, we want to hear from you. The text line is open, 785-272-9429. 785-272-9429 is the text line number. You can also get at us in the chat on our YouTube stream, 580 Sports Talk. Interact with us, interact with your fellow listeners as we go.
You actually can fly direct from St. Pete to Omaha.
Oh, is that right?
You got to take Allegiant, though.
Good old Allegiant.
So if you're willing to do that, you can, in fact, fly direct.
I'm not sure I'd fly them if it were free.
I've never been to the Omaha airport. Epley Airfield.
I have not either. That I have to confess.
Isn't the Omaha airport, it's actually in Iowa, right?
Is it in Council Bluffs?
I think it is.
I couldn't swear to that.
No.
Oh.
It does not appear that it is.
What?
It is, in fact, within the city limits of Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh.
But you tried. Also, you cannot fly to Kansas City from Omaha, so you cannot make that connection.
Huh.
There's no direct flight between the two.
It's just an expensive Uber.
Yeah.
The shuttle service.
Rent a car.
You'd have to go to either St. Louis, Chicago, or Denver. Or I guess Minneapolis.
The Storm Chaser shuttle, rather.
Yeah.
It is a shuffle when they send guys up and send them back down, but the shuttle is what takes you different.
Who was it who did that like 12 times? Oh, it was our guy Eddie O, Edward Olivares.
Yeah, Edward Olivares was very familiar with the Storm Chaser shuttle. Yeah,
every option possible in one season.
Let's get to some headlines, shall we? Some 580 Sports Talk headlines. We'll start with this one from Arrowhead Pride. Chiefs make 6 roster moves on Wednesday. Just some procedural
Trimmings.
moves more than anything else, freeing up space for their 90-man off-season roster. The most notable name on the list as far as games appeared in for the Chiefs was the Anthony Ferkser, the veteran tight end who played in 3 games for the Chiefs last year.
I did not remember that.
I no clue. Like, I know that I remember him. He played for the Titans. I think he played for the Titans in the AFC Championship game when they played the Chiefs. I think he was on that team. But
was he with Miami for a bit too, maybe? I remember him in Tennessee for sure.
May have been. So he was released along with linebackers Sean Bradley. Also, tight end Baylor Cupp, guard McCade Matower, and defensive back Jason Taylor, not that one, were waived. Also, the 6th move, again, strictly procedural, a 3rd international player exemption for offensive lineman Chukwuemeka Godric, who is a native of Nigeria. He's been with the Chiefs for the last 3 years, and that player exemption allows the team to keep 91 players on the offseason roster. Godric also counts on the practice squad. He can be kept on the practice squad in season without counting against the 16-player limit. So there are 14 roster spots open for the Chiefs. There's 7 draft picks will slot in. Some of the preferred UDFAs will slot in. There'll be some room for any additions from rookie minicamp if anybody turns some heads, and so on from there. But
my guy Ethan Driscoll's still on the roster,
still hanging out,
still hanging. I thought maybe he was one of the guys that got cut.
Let's do another headline, Brendan.
All right, we've got some news from Kansas State Athletics today. One player coming in and a couple players who have found new homes. Let's start with football, where K-State has added some depth to its running back room with Louisiana Monroe transfer Antonio Martin, who started his career actually at Southeast Louisiana, then transferred to Louisiana Monroe, and now is headed to K-State. So originally he had been there, went to ULM, did not play, transferred right back out, and now is going to K-State. So for Southeastern Louisiana last year, rushed for 1,228 yards and 11 touchdowns on 5.3 yards per carry. So that's some nice insurance. That's a decent player jumping on to the roster.
It's a tricky spot that K-State found themselves in because they needed a veteran running back who wasn't going to come in and want to be the man, right? Because the Wildcats have the man. That's Dylan Edwards.
Yeah.
But they had brought in Gabe Ervin, a transfer from Nebraska who had 1 year of eligibility left, but he was dealing with some injuries. Those injuries are going to keep him from continuing a football career, is what it turns out. Like he's not going to be able to play.
Yeah.
So what is it with kids transferring from Nebraska to Kansas State and then never getting on the field because they're too hurt? Like Will Honus and
Honus, man.
Yeah, now Gabe Ervin. And unfortunate, just a coincidence, but unfortunate that's happened twice. So it's an interesting spot. You had to go get a running back, and you want quality. You want some depth because James White also transferred out of the program as well. But you also want somebody who is going to be okay if you end up being running back 3 behind Dylan Edwards and Joe Jackson, who showed a lot of promise last season for the Cats. So being able to find someone who was that productive even at the FCS level, I think that's a good bit of transfer business for Kansas State.
Meanwhile, K-State basketball, no moves there, but 2 players who we already knew were transferring out have found new homes. They're 2 big men. First, Ugonna Onyenso, who played more of the 2 of them. He is signing with Virginia. Started 14 games, of course, with Kentucky before transferring to K-State, where he had an unremarkable 2024 and 2025 season. Meanwhile, Baye Fall, he has committed to Rutgers, which is going to be in something of a rebuild this coming season after losing Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. They missed the tournament with 2 lottery picks.
Yeah, they did.
Put that one together.
Maybe 2 top 5 picks.
Yes, it's certainly possible.
And it is amazing that Steve McHale kept his job. Like, I don't know how you go into a season with those kinds of expectations, that kind of talent, and you miss the tournament entirely and you keep your gig.
It's tough for Rutgers being in the Big Ten because that is a good league, and the Big Ten's had a couple of really good years in a row.
And the fact that you have a coach who can even get you those kind of players and give you that kind of hope and buzz, maybe you keep that coach.
And look, I like Peichel, and he's had some good years recently. He had that really fun team 2 seasons ago, I think.
With Ron Harper Jr., was it? Or Dylan Harper? Not Dylan Harper. It was
Ron Jr.
Yeah, it was Ron Jr.
was there. Yeah. I think 22, they had a pretty good team as well. I remember listening to them on the radio when I was going to cover KU. In fact, I was listening to their first 4 game on the radio. When you coach at the biggest university in New Jersey, you should be able to get a lot of talent. Maybe not like 2 lottery picks talent, 2 top 10 picks talent, but you should be able to get a lot of talent. Rutgers is not really all that good of a program. Yikes, that's going to be tough. I don't want this to sound like sour grapes because I'm not really like a fan, so to speak, of K-State, even though I support the program. And the season is over and done with, so there's no point in rehashing things. These guys were both bad this year. Neither one of these guys really added anything for Kansas State.
Baye Fall couldn't get on the court.
He couldn't get on the floor,
which
right?
Tells you all you need to know. You can't get on the floor for a team that wins what they end up winning. 7 Big 12 games.
Well, and the other thing, too, we knew it was going to be something of a developmental year, which is already hard enough with free transfers. But when you sell someone on, this is going to be a developmental year, they go through the developmental process, and then, hey, man, why don't you take a look somewhere else? That tells you all you probably need to know about Baye Fall.
Yeah, I think so. And he's such a raw talent too.
Oh, extremely raw.
And he's barely played any basketball like the last 3 years. Like he needs to be in a program where he's going to play. And Kansas State was not that program. Maybe Rutgers is, but he needs to play basketball if he's going to reach the McDonald's All-America potential that he has. He has to play the sport. And he was obviously not going to get that opportunity with Onyenso, like. Rim protector. The idea of Onyenso was very tantalizing, and the mix wasn't right. And part of it was David Gasson became the player who couldn't come off the floor, and if you played Gasson and Onyenso next to each other, it would not have worked. So there was a little bit of bad luck for Onyenso, but it would not be accurate to say he made the most of the opportunities he did get either, which. That's on the player too. Yeah,
it's the tough thing about these mass exodus years with the transfer portal is you have a situation where you got to rebuild your culture all over again. Ryan Gilbert actually of Go Power Cat has a piece up right now somewhere on the front page about the returning guys for K-State, David Castillo and Moby and also Taj Manning, and look, having those guys around is important, and it's good that it's not a complete turnover again. But you run into the issue where you got to rebuild the culture and guys who are veterans. Nate Johnson, I'm excited for him, but he is what he is at this point. He's going into his final year of eligibility. He is what he is as a player, and it's hard to change that into something new. Ask both KU and K-State from this past season. On the other hand, though, like the Onyenso thing didn't work out. The fall clearly didn't work out. For the most part, a lot of those transfers and guys who were on the roster this past year didn't work out. So it's nice for the program to be able to move on, but you have to at some point be able to have a few more guys stick so you don't wind up in this never-ending cycle of just rebuilding your roster every year, because you're never going to find success like that.
Let's do another headline. Spencer, your turn.
Yeah, it's a sad headline. Pittsburgh Public Safety said Thursday the fan who fell from the right field wall onto the field at PNC Park Wednesday remains in critical condition. The fall is being treated as accidental. Police said the incident happened during the 7th inning of Wednesday's game between the Cubs and the Pirates. Play was stopped as medical staff attended to the fan that eventually carted them off. The Pirates said Thursday that any updates to the condition would be provided by appropriate medical personnel in conjunction with his family. It's just a scary situation. If you got to see or saw the video yesterday,
and hopefully you did not. Hopefully you were able to
Yeah.
avoid seeing this video. If you're unfamiliar with the configuration of PNC Park, the right field wall is 21 feet high.
Yeah, so background on this, in case you don't know what we're talking about. Last night during the Cubs-Pirates game at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, at the same moment that Pittsburgh took the lead in the game with a really weird play, they took a 4-3 lead. The game paused for a substantial amount of time because a fan fell. It's unknown exactly how he fell. There is video of, was it intentional? That he just slipped? It's being treated as an accident for now. He fell from the right field bleachers face first onto the warning track on the field below. Emergency medical personnel were called. Advanced life-saving assistance was requested by the security and the medical team on site in Pittsburgh. Very, very scary thing. I was a little surprised they restarted the game as quickly as they did after this guy fell. So, yeah, very scary sight, and you hope he's able to recover. But, man, that is 21 feet face first is a terrifying fall.
It sounds as though he made contact with the wall on his way down. So what I heard that, I just hope that maybe that slowed him just a little bit and hopefully slowed his descent and maybe minimize the impact enough. But a horrible thing to have happen and a horrible thing to witness. I honestly, even just hearing the description, I haven't seen the video, and I would urge anybody to not go seek it out. It's out there, but don't go seek it out, especially not knowing how this story is going to end. You don't want to watch that video.
Yeah,
you don't want to watch it. But
where they're treating it as accidental, it looks like he just got up to cheer the fact that the Pirates scored a run.
Yeah,
and jumped and then
just
tragic.
Went over the wall, and it's happened before where fans have fallen from their seats and fallen over an overhang, and it happened at Turner Field when that was the home of the Braves about 20 odd years ago. It happened at a Rangers game at the old ballpark at Arlington.
Yeah, Josh Hamilton, I remember that one vividly. He was throwing a ball to a fan, underthrew it, and the fan reaching over to catch the ball fell. Oh my God.
Yeah, he was there with his kid. Yeah, that was a terrible, terrible deal. So hopefully there's a happier ending to this story. But honest to God, I don't know how they kept playing the game.
I agree. I'm with you. Just pause it and restart today.
Yeah, they could have absolutely picked it up today. But the terrible story, and hopefully there is a happy ending there. Let's do the playoff roundup. Let's end on a brighter note and get to today's playoff roundup.
One more.
In conclusion,
it's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
The mouse. I picked up the mouse and I clicked as it was between two things.
It happens.
This playoff roundup on 580 Sports Talk. We'll start on the hardwood. The Lakers have been eliminated. Nico Harrison was right. Defense wins championships. The Lakers couldn't guard the Timberwolves, who defeated the Lakers last night, win that series in the Western Conference in 5 games. So Minnesota advances. They'll play the winner of the Houston Golden State series. That series is going to a game 6 after the Rockets blew out the Warriors. Warriors were up 3-1 going on the road and just no-showed game 5. Completely no-showed. And made it a little interesting towards the end, but the Rockets earned the win, controlled the game throughout, and that series is moving on to a 6th game. 2 potential clinchers tonight, one out east, one out west. The Knicks are on the road at Detroit with a 3-2 series lead. trying to wrap up that series on the road. So too are the Denver Nuggets, who are in Los Angeles tonight, taking on the Clippers at Intuit Dome. Nuggets with a 3-2 series lead over the Clips, vying for the right to face the Thunder in the Western semis. In the NHL, the Washington Capitals are moving on to the Eastern Conference semifinals. They defeat the Montreal Canadiens in 5 games. Spencer, vibe check.
Very, very high right now. I was biting my fingernails as the last few minutes were going by because the Canadians had a 6-on-5, pulled the goalie for the extra skater yesterday, and it was Logan Thompson was tremendous. The game change, or the series changing, the thing that turned the tide for the Caps in this whole series was on it was Sunday. I think it was Sunday night when Tom Wilson hit Carrier, I think is his name, and then they scored a goal right like 15 seconds later, and that kind of changed the whole vibe of the series after losing on Friday night. And I thought maybe they weren't gonna win the second game in Montreal, but they did. They pulled it off. They got some days to rest, but it's going to be a interesting series against the Hurricanes, a team in which they played 2 times in the final couple weeks of the season, and there was a couple line brawls in that game, so
Could be a chippy series in the East. Meanwhile, Florida's moving on as well. They win the Battle of Florida. The Panthers, defending Stanley Cup champions, eliminate the Lightning in 5 games. Over in the Western first round last night, Winnipeg defeats St. Louis on home ice. And the Jets now take a 3-2 series lead on the Blues. 4 game 6s tonight. That means 4 chances for teams to wrap up their respective series. 3 of them are trying to do so on the road. Toronto, who had a 3-0 series lead and has lost back-to-back games to Ottawa, going on the road for a game 6 there. The Leafs choke in the playoffs? Never. That would be so unlike them. Vegas has a 3-2 series lead. They've got Minnesota tonight in Minnesota. Vegas Golden Knights trying to close that series out. Dallas trying to eliminate Colorado in the West as well. Stars with a 3-2 series lead. Game 6 tonight in Denver. And also out west, Edmonton is the lone home team with a 3-2 series edge going into tonight. The Oilers at home against the Kings trying to finish that series. 2 elimination games for my favorite teams tonight being played simultaneously. I am not well.
Does not sound like a fun night.
Hey, at least one of them, even if you lose, you're going to keep playing.
This is true. We go 0-2 tonight, still got 1 more. We go 1-1 tonight. Who knows what that means? I don't know, man. The Avs were really bad in game 5. I think they'll be better tonight. I think they'll win that game. No idea what to make of the Nuggets-Clippers series. Nuggets have dominated 6 of the last 8 quarters. The problem has been giant leads keep disappearing in the fourth quarter. I would prefer that not to happen.
If the Nuggets lose and the Avs win, do you have a doomsday potential coming up? Will they both play game 7 on the same day?
I believe game 7s would be Saturday.
Yeah, I know for the Avs, game 7 would be Saturday.
2 game 7s on Saturday. That is, I will need dial 9 and 1, and then on my say-so, dial 1 again. It'll be one of those for your boy. I'd like to avoid. I'd like them to go 2-0 tonight. That would be the ideal scenario. Get that game 7 on the frozen pond, and then not have to worry about one in the basketball. That's our playoff roundup. Those are our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We'll take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, what's the deal with Bill Belichick's publicist, girlfriend, COO of a company that doesn't exist? What's going on there? We'll talk about it next. 5:32 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan, Brendan, Spencer. This is a story that has gotten beyond the sports world, made its way to CBS This Morning over the weekend. So it's bigger than a sports story. And usually we try to get to those on the program, even if there's not an obvious local angle or anything, because you may be aware of them, but like the broader public is. And we might be able to help you if like you got a family gathering this weekend and an aunt or your grandmother corners you and says, what do you think about this Bill Belichick thing? We're doing you a public service here. We're going to help you.
I think I said this a couple weeks ago, but not regarding this particular latest development. But my dad, out of the blue, on the phone with me a couple weeks ago, was like, "You seen this? Gross." Like, yeah, I agree. He was beside himself.
It's your dad, Jay Leno. You see this? You hear about this?
Hear about this Bill Belichick sweatshirt? What's do with that hole in it? And that's the joke. And then people pretended it was funny.
It had more holes in it than last year's Patriots defense.
Did you see the Navy shirt he wore in that interview?
That's exactly what we were talking about. Yes. These are the facts as we know them about what is going on here with Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick met Jordan Hudson, cheerleader, beauty pageant contestant, family, who then began to run an adult toy store. Interesting family background for the Hudsons. Anyhow, they met on a flight back in 2021. She was 20 years old at the time. 2 years later, Bill Belichick broke up with his longtime girlfriend. And right around the same time, before the relationship between Belichick and Hudson became public, which was the summer of 2024, Hudson began purchasing millions of dollars in New England real estate. This was not long after the separation of Belichick and his girlfriend, and this was not long before the relationship went public. Hudson has identified herself in emails as the chief operating officer of a company called Belichick Productions, which does not appear to meaningfully exist. It is as though I said that I was the chief operating officer of Dan Lucero Productions. I could say that, but that company doesn't exist. It's not registered. It's not licensed. Belichick Productions does not meaningfully exist. But Jordan Hudson, in addition to being Bill Belichick's lady friend, is the COO of this fake-ass company.
So is it like, to me, that just sounds like trying to make up a title for being his personal assistant.
It's like claiming you've got you got your own record imprint. Like if you're a rapper in the 2000s and you say, "Yeah, I got my own record label. I got my own label. Signing rappers to my label." You don't have a label.
There's an episode of Seinfeld where Elaine is trying desperately to tell people she's dating a doctor, but he's just in medical school. Mm-hmm. And she's like, "No, you're a doctor. Tell them you're a doctor." That's what this reminds me of.
I got my guy signed to Hood Rich Records. No, you don't. You're signed to Columbia, and he's hanging out with you. That's what's happening. So that's the angle there. In her capacity as the chief operating officer of this fake company, Hudson has registered numerous trademarks, including Chapel Bill LLC, and
that's a bar, by the way.
Lots of other trademarks, including Chapel Bill, Bill's version, and
Cringe,
the Bellustrator, and
Funny,
and a few others.
Yeah.
We also know that Belichick has asked that Hudson be included on email correspondence with North Carolina media staff. We've seen some of those emails. Those emails are public. We know that Hudson was a constant presence. Those are the words of the host of the segment of Belichick's CBS This Morning interview. We know that she shut down a line of questioning that included such hard-hitting, fact-finding questions as, how did you two meet? Which, again, we already know that. That's public information. We already know how they met.
They already talked about it.
Yes, they're public about this. Also, The Athletic has reported that the reason that Hard Knocks, HBO's popular season inside behind-the-scenes show, isn't happening at North Carolina this season, as previously had been reported, is, quote, related to her request, Hudson, to be heavily involved in the project, according to multiple industry sources briefed on the negotiations. So this is a 24-year-old woman who is running a 73-year-old man's life. And I am beginning to think about this in the same way that I thought, and this is not an apples to apples comparison here. But remember when Kansas hired Les Miles?
I remember it very, very well.
Do you remember his opening press conference?
I was there. I do remember it.
Do you remember his press conference at Big 12 Media Days that summer?
I remember that one as well.
So after those two public appearances, like, I guess the first one, the introductory press conference in Lawrence, you could hand wave away to a certain extent. You could say, he's always kind of been a little offbeat, marched to the beat of his own drummer, ate grass on the field. He's always kind of been his own guy. A little bit of an odd duck. But after the Big 12 Media Day press conference, I remember exchanging glances with a lot of folks in Dallas, and the overriding reaction to what we had just seen was, what the bleep was that? And it felt impolite to say out loud that, hey, something isn't right with the hat. Something isn't quite right with Les Miles. Something isn't right about this operation. And it felt impolite to say out loud. And after it ended in ignominious fashion, it was no longer impolite to say out loud, hey, man, this is not the same guy who was the coach at LSU and was the coach at Oklahoma State. You hired the name, and you got the residual effect of having hired the name, but we did not get the person, because something is different here. Something is different with Bill Belichick. How do you go from, I don't like doing media, I don't want to do media, I will feed the media crumbs, to, I'm interested in doing Hard Knocks. I've written this book, and I'm going to do a full-on book tour. I want to coach in college, which is something I've never done at the age of 73. After a year, it should be noted, where there were NFL vacancies and nobody wanted to hire a guy with all those Super Bowl rings.
No.
And look, if you want to say, well, it was age. Age is a barrier. How old's Pete Carroll?
73.
Yeah.
It's the same age, and he just got a gig. Bill Belichick couldn't get one. Why couldn't Bill Belichick get a job? Why is this woman, this 24-year-old with no, like, it's not as though this is a practiced media professional, right? Like, she was a cheerleader and a beauty pageant contestant, and now she's running this man's life. And all I'm going to say is, if you saw this level of interference from a 24-year-old girlfriend in your 73-year-old father's life, you might at least look into taking his car keys, right?
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's just such a wild about face that it, like, how in the world did this happen? And, like, look, so I understand how weird it is. Like, hey, this dude's 72 and he's dating a 24-year-old. Like, I find that very strange as well. But, like, look, he's old and wants a hot girlfriend. She probably wants some money. Like,
tale as old as time.
Look,
right?
man, like, they're consenting adults. They can do it. It's weird, but they can do whatever they want. All the other stuff, though, is strange.
It's
like
the deviation in behavior.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if, 73-year-old man is shacking up with a 24-year-old. You might be inclined, as this texter from the 913 suggests on our text line, to pat him on the back at that point. Say, you know what? Good for you.
Yeah.
You're living your best life. But it's not just that. It's the deviation of everything that we have known Bill Belichick to be about.
Right. Honestly, I think a lot of the fault here for how much this is all spun out of control, because it was featured. They talked about this. It was directly referenced in a bit on John Mulaney's Netflix live comedy show this week.
The great Richard Kind out there is Bill Belichick.
Richard Kind is awesome.
Yes.
I love Richard Kind.
Legend, true legend.
So it makes everything funnier. Anyway, like, it's referenced to that. It is all over the place. Where's Bubba Cunningham, the AD at North Carolina? Because there was a report earlier in the week that North Carolina is concerned about Jordan Hudson's involvement with Bill Belichick in the program. Hey, you're his boss, right? If you said, get her out of here, he's got to get her out of here, right? Like,
yeah.
That report, like, set off a bunch of red flags in my head. Because, like, okay, you can't say I want the circus and then complain that you don't like trapeze artists. Like, that's part of the show, brother.
Yeah.
So we're concerned about this. Did you not vet the process beforehand? Because You should have.
And that's why I draw the line. That's why I have that comparison in my head between Carolina hiring Belichick and KU hiring Miles. Like, you hire because of the name. You hire because you can put it on billboards. Look who our coach is. Look at who we have hired. Look at who is going to run our program and coach our football team. And when you look at like recruiting rankings, transfer portal recruiting rankings, it's worked to the extent that the talent level on the Carolina football roster has increased. But you might be in a spot where all you get is the name. And everything else you sign up for is completely different than the experience that the Patriots got for years and years. Or in KU's case, that LSU and Oklahoma State got for all of those years.
I just have a really hard time thinking that this is going to work, man. I don't know how it can. It's just such a clown show.
When he took the job, you remember what I said on this show? I said, I don't think he really wants to do this. And now, and I wonder that more and more. Yeah, if he really wants to do this, or if he is being forced to prolong his time in the spotlight by somebody who is cashing in off of that.
I mean, look, there's still a few months before the college football season starts.
This is true.
That's true.
We did talk about on the show the possibility of him not coaching a game. I think there's a buyout in July, right?
I think that's right.
Yeah, it drops to like $1 million or something in July.
So, like, there's still a possibility it could happen.
Yeah, I don't like where it's going. I don't like any of the details that I learned. I wish I knew less. You know, we should know less about people generally. I should know nothing about I should not know who Jordan Hudson is. Anything I learned about her is against my will. But now I know it, and now you all know it too. And now you know to keep an eye on what all is going on with that situation. Yeah, man. Like I still think non-zero chance he never makes it to the sideline.
It's all just weird. Like everything about it is just like
it's
this is
weird
odd.
and
the
unpleasant.
vibe is off.
Also,
bad vibes.
Also, he wrote a book, and this is all supposed to be part of a book tour, and the book is called The Art of Winning. Is chapter 1 link up with Tom Brady, and then the rest of it is just blank pages? Because that's the art of that's the art of winning the Belichick way, right?
Have a decent defense.
Chapter 2, Spygate. Chapter 3, acknowledgments.
All right, I think this is a little reductive.
We'll take a timeout. Come back with some final Royals thoughts after this. 548 on 580 Sports Talk. Royals sweep the Rays. They're 17-15 overall. Does look like Cleveland's in position to stay a win ahead of the Royals in the standings. That game is in the bottom of the 10th. They resumed it after a long rain delay. Cleveland and Minnesota tied at 3, but the Guards have 2 on with 1 out. Runners at first and second in extra innings. You can watch that game free on MLB.TV right now if you want. Last night was all about Noah Cameron. I don't know who Noah Crawford is. Noah Cameron.
Carl's kid.
Yeah, sure, he's a wonderful man. Noah Cameron. Last night was all about Noah Cameron. Made his major league debut, carried a no-hitter into the 7th inning, allowed just 1 hit, did not allow a run in his 6 1/3 innings. 5 walks, which isn't great. A lot of those were deep counts there where he just didn't execute a pitch on 3-2. Did have 3 strikeouts. So, wouldn't call it A+ command, but I really liked how he executed his pitches in big spots. The 5th inning last night was, I think, his most impressive because that inning started with the error by Biggio at second base. And then he walked the next hitter. So he's got 2 on, nobody out in a tight game. And he induces weak contact to the next 3 hitters. And I like the way he mixed his pitches. He had a good balance of pitches. He pitches off of his breaking stuff. He does not have, even though he throws it pretty hard, he averaged like 92.5 miles an hour with his fastball. He doesn't have a great fastball. Like, he's going to get you out. It's going to be because he's got the good changeup. He's got a slider. He's got a curveball that he can throw to lefties. And he's going to pitch off of those. And I think that he showed me enough to feel like if that's starter 6, and he is right now for the Royals, that's where they're at. Because Alec Marsh is restarting his throwing progression. So it's going to be a little bit till we see Alec Marsh.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a little bit till we see Kyle Wright, though I believe he starts his rehab tomorrow. He's
All
going
right.
to make a rehab start tomorrow.
I'll take that.
And he'll be on his way back. But if Noah Cameron's the first guy you got to call to pick up a start or 2 or a couple of weeks worth of starts, I feel like he showed last night that he's capable of handling that and giving his team a chance to win a ball game.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd be concerned about is the walks, maybe. I think he had 5 walks in the game. But again, that's your first major league start.
And we can't blame the umpire because Nick Lenz didn't miss a pitch last night, according to the umpire report card.
Wow.
That circulate. Yeah.
Second perfect
100%
score of the
accuracy.
year.
Yeah.
In baseball.
Didn't miss Nick Lentz, left out the T. Nick Lentz had a perfect game last night. So, yeah, you can't blame the umpires for those 5 walks. He was, I think a lot of them were on 3-2 pitches, just didn't execute his 3-2s the way he would have wanted to. But look, a lot more worked than didn't. And he's got a big league win to, again, take back with him to Omaha after he got optioned out. Also, just throwing this out there, I'm going to start referring to Lucas Erceg and Carlos Estevez as the Victor E's because when they pitch, the Royals win.
There are worse nicknames.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried to force it a little bit. Like, well, we had HDH. What about Harvey, Estevez, and Erceg? What about he? No, man, Victories. I like it.
Okay.
I feel like Rex Hudler would really like it.
So
I'm sure he would.
So you're saying in about 8 to 10 years, there could be bobbleheads.
The Victor E's bobblehead day?
Look, they only win championships in years that end with a 5, is all I'm telling you.
That's true.
They've only ever done that. So
It's really been 10 years.
It's been 10 years, and it's also been 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it would be once an accident, twice as a tread, right? So, I feel like when we get to do the hot dog derby, all 3 of us, I'm going to pitch that to Rex
Because
Hudler
we're
while I'm at the
super
ballpark.
famous.
We are hugely famous. We are loved in Belgium and in Italy. We want to do the hot dog race. And if there's anyone out there that can help us do the hot dog derby at a Royals home game this season, hit our line, put us in touch. We want to do the hot dog race. I want to do the hot dog race. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I'll do it.
I'm glad
I never realized this was something we could just say we want to do and try to do it.
I don't know that it is or not, but I'm trying to manifest it. I'm trying to speak it into existence.
It works for me.
There's 3 of us. There are 3 hot dog costumes. I think you're relish, Spencer. Mustard is spoken for.
Or would you prefer ketchup?
I'd prefer ketchup.
That's fine. I can be relish.
I
relish.
once had a T-shirt that said I put ketchup on my ketchup.
I'm cool being relish.
Hey, now we know what you and Patrick Mahomes would talk about if you were ever stuck on an elevator together. Put us in the hot dog derby.
other than get me the hell out of here.
Call your congressman. Call Kauffman Stadium. Demand that the 580 Sports Talk crew lay it out on the line on the hot dog derby. Yeah, and if they say, what is that? Hang up. I
Show them
guess.
the YouTube channel.
Yeah, show them the YouTube channel. Show them we're serious about this.
Show them the Superman argument earlier. They'll fall in love with it.
Can we get in because we're like the first ever Royals affiliate?
That's what I'm saying.
That should be our in, right?
Yeah, that should be it right there. Just slide right in.
I really do. I really believe that that should be part of it. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show with the final word. Final word time at 580 Sports Talk. Brendan Dworzinski, go.
Hard not to be pretty motivated about this Royals team going forward. Big series this weekend, obviously, but that's a couple of sweeps, 2 of them in the last 3 series. You're a couple games over 500 now. You got to feel pretty good if you're this Royals offense that you had, given the quality of pitcher you faced, your best performance of the year this afternoon. There should be some pretty good vibes going into this series this weekend.
Final word, Spencer Dupuis.
Yeah, I won't be on the show tomorrow, so not going to talk any more Royals before their series against the Orioles. And I did that very wrong, but that was bad.
You tried. I appreciate the effort.
Orioles lack a lot in starting pitching, I think, and maybe you can chase some guys early, get them out of there. I think the hitting can go a long way this weekend and continue the uptrend that it appears they have hitting-wise. Let's see what happens come Monday.
Final word for me. I have been very encouraged so far for the Royals with a lot of things. The starting pitching has been deep and durable and getting the Royals far into games. Seth Lugo continuing that trend again with another 6-inning start today. Maikel Garcia's start to the season continues to impress. I think he's really found his happy medium as a big league hitter. Hard contact without chasing power and hitting the ball in the air, but not chasing the home run. I think that what we're seeing from Maikel Garcia is real. Now he's got to iron out the base stealing, get back to his 2024 form on the base paths, and the Royals could have a good one in the young Maikel Garcia. That'll do it for 580 Sports Talk today. We're back tomorrow from 3 until 5:30 when we'll once again hand it off early to the Royals Baseball Network. For Spencer and Brendan, I'm Dan. This was 580 Sports Talk. Good night.